The Sobros Network proudly brings to you two friends reunite coast to coast to phone it in on history, the creepy and the bizarre, lifestyle and travel, psychological and sociological phenomena. Well, pretty much anything. This is Phone It In on the Sobros Network.
Welcome in for another episode of Phone It In right here on Sobros Network. Mine's right, ass is tight as we tackle episode 54 for you today. We're going to be talking about the psychology of how Elvis Presley became such a cultural icon in American history. And, you know, it's Phone It In. We got to talk about some weird shit too. So we are going to talk about some of the fun little conspiracy theories surrounding his death. I am the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Collectively, we are at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. If you are watching this live on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, jump in the comments. Let us know you're here. You're watching along with us. Let us know what you think about Elvis Presley. Kind of a bit of a shift from the Yeti, which was last month's episode, and cannibalism, which was the episode before that. But there's a reason we're talking about this month, and I'll share that in a second. But first, I do want to introduce you guys to the co-host of Phone It In. She is the Cryptid Queen, and now your reigning defending Sobro of the Year, Rooster. Rooster, how you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm tired.
You and me both. Yeah, I asked you before we hopped on this call, I said, do you want to go live today? And what I was looking for was for you to say, you know, I don't really feel 100% myself today, so maybe we take it off. And I would have jumped at the chance to not do this live. But we both know it's in the best interest of the show. And you said, sure, I'm up for it. And I said, okay, well, I guess I am too. And here we are. So
here we are.
Tiredness be damned. I'll tell you what, I'm watching the intro video for this show, and there's a lot of shit that I need to update.
Yeah, like my usernames, I guess, like my Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, that, and we're not really coast to coast anymore, which I kind of hate. Yeah. The text that I wrote to read during the intro music, I don't really love that text anyway. I did it at the time when I was just kind of like, okay, how can I best sum up this show just really quickly, record it, knock it out, lay it over music, we're good to go. But every time I hear it, I'm just like, man, this kind of sucks, Stoney. This kind of sucks, Stoney. What are you doing?
It's also kind of hard to explain our show. It doesn't have a very clear and definitive
it is, and that's how people end up listening to it, not knowing what to expect, and then they hate it and they leave us 1 star on Spotify.
Star review. Yeah, it's too bad you can't leave like an actual like review. Use just a star rating.
Yeah, it's too bad they don't show you who said them hateful words, because I'll tell you what, I'd go find them. Yeah, we're not really coast to coast anymore.
No,
we're like in the same time zone, I think, aren't we? Or are you?
No, we're an hour. Eastern. Yeah, I'm Eastern.
So you're the opposite direction from where you were.
I think I'm kind of like north, just almost directly north. But for some reason, the way that it works, I'm in Eastern.
Yeah, it's like going up into Indiana, and you go
like
up
it's
there.
Not...
Like you look at a map, and it almost looks directly north of Nashville, but the way the cutoff line is, it's South Bend is in the Eastern time zone for some reason. Yeah.
Well, I'm not in South Bend, and I don't want that associated to my name.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like,
no, I know. I get what you're saying.
To South Bend, a few years ago, and I looked on the map, and from looking at the map, I was like, oh, this is the same time zone. And then you get up there, and you pass the signs that are like, oh, you're now in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah, like people always
if you just keep going up past South Bend, you hit Michigan. So
I think people always thought that like Tennessee was in Eastern time zone too anyway. Like you get that a lot, and it's like, no, I'm Central.
Yeah.
Well, part of Tennessee, I guess some of Tennessee is Eastern. Anyway, fascinating.
Chattanooga and Knoxville. Yeah, we're teaching people about time zones today on Phone It In. So, like I said, if you are in the comments, be sure to let us know where you're watching from today. Go ahead and rate, review, and subscribe wherever you take in your podcasts. And don't give us a 1-star.
No, help us beat that 1 star. We don't deserve that.
Really tarnished our reputation and hurt our download numbers. 1 review will do that. It's amazing. It's amazing. You guys have a bunch of snow up there? Because right now in Nashville, I'm looking at 6.5 inches outside, and it doesn't look like it's melting. So,
I haven't measured it. It's been pretty consistently snowing like over the weekend. It's got to be at least a foot by now. Like it's
damn.
There's a lot of fucking snow outside.
Yeah.
Carter's been shoveling every day.
Do you like the snow? Do you get out in it? Do you enjoy this time of year, or are you just over it?
No, I love the snow. I love winter.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. I totally fine. As long as I'm, wearing warm enough clothes, I go outside and I love it. Like having my face cold, I don't know. I just love it. Like I hate a hot summer day, but like going out in the cold where there's snow everywhere, I'm like a husky,
Yeah, I like it, but I don't get out in it. I just sit in my window and just watch the snow fall gently on our lawn. Maybe have a nice cup of hot tea.
We've been going for daily walks, but then at a point, I was like, people are gonna think I'm fucking insane if I go walking in this, because it is literally 4 degrees. So like I've stayed inside so that other people won't judge me.
But you know what? I bet those people see that and they're like, damn, we ain't ever gonna fuck with this lady.
They probably think I'm weird for sure.
That's okay.
But no, we've walked to like the library. We went to the grocery store, which was really nice.
I haven't done shit but watch tape on running backs that probably won't even get drafted to the NFL. So if that gives you anything about where my head's at right now. Anyway, we got a topic to talk about. I'm just making sure everything's up and running where it's supposed to be. We are going to be talking about the legend of Elvis Presley, who I don't know about you, Rooster, but I find to be just an incredibly fascinating figure in American history. Yeah. And it's not because, I don't know. I think history gets a bad rap sometimes because people hear the term and they automatically think it's, Donald Trump and Teddy Roosevelt and politics and shit like that. But I think the history of pop culture can present some pretty interesting figures as well. And Elvis is at the top of the list for me because I grew up with a grandmother that just absolutely adored him, just loved him. And she shared a birthday with Elvis. And for those that might not know this, Elvis was born on January 8th.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, he was born in 1935. My grandmother was born a few years before that, so not the exact birthday, but we always celebrated her birthday with Elvis's birthday. And growing up,
I think you can celebrate his birthday at Chewy's too, can you?
Really? Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
I think they'll do like an Elvis. I don't. They've got like an Elvis plate, I think. Do
they? Man,
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go. No free advertising, but shout out to Chewy's for that. I grew up with like all sorts of Elvis videotapes and listening to Elvis on Sunday mornings. My grandmother like flew out with I think some other ladies from her church group, maybe. I don't remember. And she passed in 2001. I was a sophomore in high school. And so I didn't have this interest in history the way that I do now as an adult, I'd give anything to kind of pick her brain about what it was like to kind of watch this
Yeah,
whole
that'd be cool.
phenomenon unfold. But like, she went out there to Hawaii to see him perform, just, completely obsessed. So I grew up with all this Elvis shit around me.
Mm-hmm.
Then like as you grow up, you learn more about the guy, and like the peanut butter and banana sandwiches and his infatuation with karate, I always thought was just
Mm-hmm.
so wild. And then like he wanted to become like a secret agent at one point
Yeah.
too. Just this really interesting guy. And I think we'll talk about his path to that superstardom, and how, well, I don't know. I'll save it for the discussion later, but I just think he's this really interesting guy. And then, oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, when I got a little bit older, I realized, oh, my dad has those tapes that are like, where's Elvis now? Did Elvis really die? And it's like shoddy camcorder footage from a family reunion that somebody
Amazing.
shot. Like, oh, here's somebody in the front door of the house across the street that looks just like Elvis. Elvis has been sighted. And so like all the creepy shit and all of the alien shows and stuff that like my dad was
Oh yeah, yeah,
into,
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
that has trickled down to me. There's so much of my life just circles back to Elvis. And then of course you grow up and you realize he ripped off African American music, and he was kind of a marketing gimmick in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I don't want this to turn into us just shitting on Elvis for an hour. It might turn into us just shitting on Elvis for an hour, I don't know. But then I'm like, you know what, like, he's not even that hot. I don't think Elvis is even really that good
No,
looking.
no.
And I
And
don't
like,
even think that he's that generational singer either. I don't think he has
no.
that great of a voice either. So it just
Well,
makes it all the more fascinating to me to look back on like how this happened to begin with. But what about this topic got you on board with it? Because for like, this was my suggestion and you were like, okay, yeah, let's do it. What made you say yes to this?
um, w- I don't know. I'm interested whenever you throw out a topic because
Okay.
I don't know. I'm interested in, sometimes it's like stuff I already kind of know about.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I like Elvis. Elvis is fun. I don't really have anybody in my family like you do that was super big into Elvis, but I got kind of into Elvis for a little bit, and I have like an Elvis biography that I didn't finish. I read half of it. There's 2 books. I read the first one.
Okay. Okay.
Super interesting guy, psychologically speaking.
Yeah.
Especially like with a
Yeah.
new Priscilla movie that came out, which I haven't even seen, but I know that it goes more into like their relationship, and like I don't know if it portrays him as a groomer necessarily. I heard that it did.
I would
But
say it's pretty damning.
there's definitely stuff there, but I was, you know what? I was kind of disappointed that the other Elvis movie, which I did see, didn't go more into his relationship with his mom because it was so fucking weird. His
It was.
relationship with his mom was real weird.
You know,
Um,
I think there's an opportunity, and Baz Luhrmann was not the filmmaker to do it. Of course, it was very much the glitz and glamour that we saw. Except, I am glad that he threw that scene in there and had Austin Butler deep throat a microphone as Elvis,
yeah,
because
well,
people
I
don't know
mean,
that that really happened. That
yeah.
was something that he really did on stage. So I still think that, Priscilla is kind of told from Priscilla's perspective. Obviously, Elvis with Austin Butler and Tom Hanks is very much about the glitz and glamour and his downfall. But if the more you learn about this man, there is an opportunity, and I don't know how well it would be received, but I feel like there's an opportunity to make a pretty dark Elvis movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Maybe
for
we can
sure.
be the ones to do that.
Yeah.
Let's pull our resources together and make a dark
Yeah.
Elvis movie.
Who do we get to play as Elvis?
Oh man, that's a good one. Shit, if it's gonna be, we're gonna do dark Elvis. We're gonna explore the stuff with the mom. We're gonna do this. Shit, there's so much. And I don't know. I kind of just want to say Robert Pattinson.
Okay. I was gonna joke and say Timothy Chalamet.
He's playing everybody else, so
Yeah,
why
I know.
not? Yeah.
No, I have no idea who I would cast. That's not a bad one though, Robert Pattinson.
I mean,
Sure, why
he can
not?
do dark and bleak pretty well. So
He's a weird, interesting guy.
he is a weird, interesting guy. So yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say? You want to add to establish a baseline here for what we're going to talk about?
No.
No. Oh shit, McCash chimes
Didn't you
in the
say some?
comments. His mom went to high school with Elvis. Man, it's
That's
fascinating, McCash.
crazy. That's fucking
If you've
crazy. You
got any
better,
stories
yeah,
to
seriously.
share,
You can't just
uh,
drop something like that.
so I wanted to look at this from the perspective because there's so many different ways you can spiral with a figure as big as Elvis Presley was. There's so many different directions that you could go with, but I kind of wanted to stick with like the psychology of our country at the time and how the people, the audience, if you will, kind of allowed this superstar to blossom. And to do that, I think we kind of rewind all the way back to the beginning and say, quite simply, Rooster, why was Elvis who? Elvis? Why did Elvis become such a huge phenomenon to begin with?
Right place, right time.
There it
That's all I
is.
put. That's the
All
whole.
right.
That's
Thank you
all.
guys.
We are done.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Phone It In. Right place, right time. Expand upon that a little bit. I didn't mean to
Okay.
interrupt you. I couldn't resist. That was such a good
No, I know. I was on board with that.
layup.
TV and transistor radio were getting big. So times were changing and young people wanted something fresh and alive. I mean, you just think about how like things used to be a lot more closed off. Like we have access
Sure.
to everything all of the time.
Yeah.
Like we hear about news stories happening everywhere. We're like overexposed to so much news, but you know, they didn't really have that. And suddenly you get something that's fucking Elvis who's jiggling. And I don't know, you get like a big performer. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. I mean, just that's very simply put.
And it's at a time where you begin having the means of getting your music out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not just come see me at the bingo hall on Saturday night and you might get 50 people there showing up kind of deal.
Right. You're starting to you're getting content and the content you get is fucking Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So black music was growing and becoming more popular, but racism kept it from being accepted in major media, but with white audiences at least.
Yeah.
But Elvis filled that gap by being a white man who played black music.
Which is like crazy to think about because I mean, can you imagine today? It's hard to imagine, but can you imagine today that somebody being like, oh, we, you know what? We really like this style of music. And I'm sure it still happens. I mean, I'm down here in the South and there are still places that fly the Confederate flag proudly, but
even in the North, people are just stupid.
Oh, fair enough. I just think like we really like that music, but we need a white person to do it. It's just a crazy.
This sounds amazing, but I hate your face.
Yeah, exactly. That just sounds so insane to me.
It does.
But it goes back to what you said about it being right place, right time. Like people wanted this music,
yeah,
but they wanted someone that looked like them to perform it.
Yep.
So, I mean, I ask you, and maybe there's a lot to unpack here. A lot more to unpack than we probably should, given the nature of what Phone It In usually is as a show. But I mean, do you think it's fair for this to tarnish Elvis's legacy in American history? Because I'll admit, when I first learned it, I was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, I see it, and this kind of feels gross.
Hmm. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, is it Elvis's fault, or was Elvis just kind of the product here?
I don't think it was Elvis's fault.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I'm not trying to pin the totality of racism on Elvis Presley
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that.
I don't think he was smart enough to know what the fuck he was doing.
That's
to know
kind of,
that I think he just kind of fell into it because he was from, I mean, he's from fucking, I mean, originally he was from somewhere else. I don't even remember. Mississippi,
he was born
maybe.
in Tupelo, Mississippi.
But he grew up in Memphis in a poor neighborhood. He grew up
Yeah.
with the black kids. So he grew up going to their churches and stuff, and he had heard their music. It's not like it was calculated. It was just the music that he liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty fucking stupid, I think. I mean, I
kind of feel like he was too. Yeah. And you know, it kind of feels like later on some of the business people came into his life and may have seen an opportunity there that he might not have, because he was just this simpleton. Well, now I
don't know. He's from a poor neighborhood. It's not like he had, I don't think he's the kind of kid who grew up reading in a family that was passionate about academia. So it just, he's a simpleton. No, that sounds fucked up. No, but he just, I don't know. He's just into music. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. We have a compliment on your office here from Brittany Fernandez.
Thank you. Yeah, I gotta paint my doors white. I'm real tired of looking at that brown shit. But thank you.
So it's more, I kind of feel like it's more of a reflection of society at the time than it was Elvis's character or anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, I don't think he was malicious at all.
But still, do you think, like, knowing it now, do you think it changes like younger people's perception of him?
Yeah. I mean, in the way that you wouldn't say, you can recognize that he is what he was. You can recognize the truth of what happened and not be like, oh, he was just an amazing, he didn't write his own shit. Like whatever. But I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to be in love with Elvis the way that like your grandma was in love with Elvis. Like those older ladies who are still like, Elvis was everything. He's the most beautiful, humble, God-loving man that ever existed. Like, old ladies fucking love Elvis.
I mean, I
do not think that's who Elvis is, but
yeah, I imagine like that was pretty much porn at the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it definitely, for sure. I mean, they censored him. They're like, oh, can't like wiggle his hips. This is obscene.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Also, I think you made a note of this in the agenda, so I don't want to jump ahead, but like any performance that isn't Elvis you see from this time that like pops up on old TV channels or whatever from time to time, these people look bored as fuck.
Oh my God.
And they're just standing there singing.
They're standing so still as they possibly could.
Yeah. I want somebody to tap into the rage and the angst that I feel. I want a release. So when I watch Elvis up there, dry hump in the air, deep throating microphones, I'm like, yeah, I'm pounding my chest. It's like King Kong.
He had a lot of energy. I mean, if nothing else, he had a lot of energy.
That's what that energy would unleash in me. Like I would have been, I don't know, I probably would have been unstoppable. I would have been in the pit at the Elvis show.
It would have been really cool to see Las Vegas Elvis. That would have been,
oh yeah,
with the fucking capes and the the karate moves.
Yeah.
Just fucking what a ridiculous person. But yeah, we can keep going a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So I took this from a Vanity Fair article by Johanna Desta. But because it sort of talked about him taking black music and how different people might have felt about it. So this says in 1994, Ray Charles sat down for an interview with NBC's Bob Costas and gave a scathing critique of Elvis Presley. To say that Elvis was so great and so outstanding, like he's the king of what? Charles said. I know too many artists that are far greater. Singers like Nat King Cole, who got assaulted by white audiences for performing rock music, while Elvis received widespread acclaim. He was doing our kind of music, Charles said. So what the hell am I supposed to get so excited about?
Who wins in a fight, Elvis Presley or Ray Charles?
I mean, I'm going to go with Ray Charles.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Elvis. Even after all the karate, Elvis can't do any. No.
Elvis, there's a little bit of oh man, I don't want to say incel energy. Maybe that's not the case with Elvis. Maybe I need to read a little more of him, but from what I know, like I kind of feel like
it's that weird relationship with his mom, man. It all goes back to that. Everything about Elvis goes back to that. I feel like he was fucking weird. He was weird about women.
Yeah, he was very weird about women.
Because of his mom real fuck. Oh God. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it.
I think it's funny that, we talk about Elvis kind of tapping into the horniness of the country at the time and, something that had been sort of repressed. But I kind of feel like all these people that wanted to sleep with Elvis so badly probably would have been greatly disappointed. That's the energy that he gives off to me.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I said I wasn't going to bash Elvis today, and here I am talking like Elvis can't fuck.
He looks like a man who can't fuck. 100%.
McCash chimes in with a comment. Ben Stiller stars as Simple Elvis. Who says no?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Robert Pattinson would be good. Although, I mean, we're not trying to cast Simple Elvis, though. So I don't know. I mean,
well,
we're trying to cast dark, fucked up Elvis.
I see that in like a Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Sequel.
Like a parody. Yeah.
I'd be into that. It sounds like my cup of tea, to be honest.
That's fair.
Or we're casting Ben Stiller as Simple Elvis in our dark incel.
When's the last time Ben Stiller's been in anything? I feel like I haven't seen him in a while.
Man, it has been a while since he's popped up. I think I don't know. Yeah, see, McCash says it was a Tropic Thunder joke. I don't know. We're gonna get sidetracked, and I'm gonna look up Ben Stiller's filmography.
So okay. Well, so the article goes on to say the feelings of black musicians that knew Elvis vary. B.B. King seemed to like him and thought he had integrity. Elvis grew up in a black neighborhood, so he knew and loved the music, but that doesn't mean his contemporaries appreciated him being successful where they weren't accepted, which is totally fair. I mean, that's completely understandable. Yeah, you would be pissed off. He's taking your music that you're getting beat up over, and people love him for it.
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
But I don't think that was Elvis trying to be a shithead.
Yeah. It kind of, looking back on it, feels a lot like the sort of release of white audiences saying like, okay, now we have somebody that we can support and go see
Yeah.
and get behind.
Yeah. It's like, man, I love this music so much. I just wish that they were white, even though it's on the radio and you can't fucking see them anyway.
Do you ever wish, and maybe I shouldn't say this on a podcast, but do you ever wish that you could just go back in time and just like wring a few people's necks? Just like, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. P.T. Barnum, racist that supported Elvis but didn't support Nat King Cole.
That's a lot of necks to be wringing.
But if you could go back with modern technology, maybe it wouldn't be. Well, I mean, we're only going back like 70 years here.
But that's still fair to say.
You think so? Okay.
That's quite a big difference in technology. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would probably just try and like kill Ronald Reagan, you know. That's me though.
Stop the Reaganomics.
Yeah.
Straight from the source.
Yeah. I don't know if it's allowed to say on a podcast, but
we might end up on a watch list for that. But who knows?
I'm sure I'm already there, so that's fine.
It was the cannibalism episode that did it.
Oh, way before that.
Okay, I just realized we are 30 minutes into this show and we are on the we've only gotten through 3 paragraphs of this.
I can speed read.
All right, let's get to it then.
His legendary leg shake dancing got people talking about the young performer. His popularity soared in 1956 when his song Heartbreak Hotel became the singer's first #1 hit. Elvis gained national attention when 60 million people tuned in to watch him perform on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1956. Because Elvis's dancing was deemed too provocative, only his waist step was shown.
All right, so we have already talked about that.
Billboard's top 40 hits started in the 1940s, so during this time, you had a lot of shows like the Ed Sullivan Show trying to get young musical talent to profit off of a growing interest in music sales.
Okay.
So of course he was also an amazing performer at a time when performances were pretty fucking boring. During the time, performers were very modest. They would stand still. They barely emoted, but he burst out emoting and shaking all over the stage. It all looks ridiculous now, but it was extremely scandalous. Basically, he tapped into the horniness of women, which is a huge market. I mean, just look at like smut books, you know, it's.
Yeah. And they didn't have that back then, did they? I don't know.
Right. No, well, women don't get horny, Stoney. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
But then you get like one dude out there who's like helicoptering his dick and he's like a fucking cultural icon.
And sweating. Yeah.
So
man, really a lesson in using racism and horniness to yield a successful musical career. I say that rather tongue in cheek. I don't mean, again, I'm trying really hard for this not to come across as an episode where we just shit on Elvis for an hour.
Well, again, I don't think he was doing that. Like,
well, yeah,
intentionally.
Yeah.
He was just a guy who really liked black music and really liked wiggling around. And it just so happened.
Who doesn't?
That women will give you a lot of money to wiggle around.
Yeah. In a veiled setting too, you know. It's like, oh, we really love his music.
Right. Yeah. We're here for his music. Yeah.
Great showman.
But people like your grandma, people love his humble persona. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Elvis, so humble, such a family man. He loved his mother.
Yeah, which she
gave him no choice but to love the shit out of her.
Like the traditional values coming through too. Yeah. Like how much that did for him was like, oh, yeah. He really loves his mama.
He didn't buy himself out of the draft, even though he could have. But
I lost our place. Sorry. Oh, there we are. Okay, I'm caught up.
Yeah.
I'm caught up.
So, and you have the extreme marketing skills of Tom Parker, who is basically a carny. He so he treated Elvis like a hot ticket item. Really
Product.
sold the shit out of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elvis's face was basically everywhere. His influence on Elvis in the army so people think that Tom Parker's the one who encouraged him to go. So it's like everything was Tom Parker's plan. Like Tom Parker was an incredible mastermind for, just the simple dude who loves jiggling on stage. This says Presley had been showing signs of rebellion against Parker, and Parker believed that a stint in the army would cure him of this. Parker was looking ahead when he pursued Presley to become a soldier. Presley had wanted to join special services, allowing him the opportunity to perform while at the same time getting a more leisurely ride than other soldiers. Parker, on the other hand, was fully aware that any particular treatment given to Presley would instantly be used against him in the media and by those who disliked his style of music. If Presley could show the world that he was treated the same as any other young man, Parker told him, then more people would accept him and his music. Parker was also afraid that any attempt to block Presley from being drafted would result in a more detailed look into Parker's service record. Parker also realized that it would be an excellent opportunity to promote Presley by having the media witness his induction day, including the army haircut that would see the shearing of Presley's iconic hairstyle.
So, why, I don't know if you have anything prepared on this, but why would Parker not want a more detailed look into his service record? Do you remember?
I think Parker was like an illegal immigrant.
Yeah. That's how I remember it too. I didn't know if you had anything prepared for it. I was gonna say,
well, because he was Colonel Parker, but he's not a fucking colonel.
Yeah. He's a carny. He's a carny.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how. Maybe this whole thing was just a misunderstanding, and that's how carnies label themselves.
Yep.
Colonel, carny. It's not too far. It's not too far.
He's a big con man who saw a nice meal ticket.
Yep. So, I mean, just laughing because in today's time, can you imagine an agent being like, you know what you need? You need a stint in the army to really get you over with the American people.
Tom Parker treated Elvis like shit.
Yeah, he did. A lot of people treated Elvis like shit.
Yeah. Could you imagine your whole life being like completely taken over by this asshole?
No, I don't. These were some of the critiques of Baz Luhrmann's Elvis film, is that it didn't really portray Parker as enough of a shithead. Kind of played
I think it did.
A little safe, but yeah.
I think it really showed him fucking over Elvis. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could lean into it harder, but I don't think it was too kind to Parker.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, things you read after seeing a film. People are like, oh, he pulled too many punches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I'm not saying you can't make that argument. I'm sure, but it did not make him seem like a nice guy.
We're going from shitting on Elvis to shitting on Baz Luhrmann for no reason.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a fun movie. I mean, he didn't go to his fucking weird ass mom.
What is it about? I don't have specific stories handy, just the general recollection of reading stuff throughout the year of like, hey, this is not like quite normal. But do you have any examples? Because we keep coming back to the mother, and I don't feel like we've elaborated enough on what exactly makes us uneasy about that.
So it's like Mama's Boy cranked up to 20. So Elvis was a twin, but his twin brother died. And I think she just got extremely clingy from there on out. She was a very depressed woman, and she like put all of her happiness onto Elvis. So like he was always by her side. He was never out of her sight. She basically like set up who he was going to marry. She's like, I like this girl, so this can be your girlfriend. Like she had to, I don't know. It just really fucked up his relationship with women. To where I don't think he was comfortable with anybody who was, I don't know. I don't know. There was like his mom, and then there was just like nothing else. So it was like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit with him and girls, like younger girls. There was like these 3 girls that he apparently had sleepovers with, and they all said nothing even happened. It's all very fucking sketchy and weird. Like, but he would just have sleepovers because he would want to brush their hair and stuff. And like, I don't know. It's just, I think his mom did some weird shit to him.
Yeah, it's
and
uneasy.
We'll never fully know that relationship because it's not like he talked about it.
Yeah, we can't ask him, or can we? Can we?
Even if he's still alive, we still can't ask him.
Oh shit, you're right. My bad. I thought that was a good part for a dramatic segue.
Yeah. Well, and also dying relatively young, that does stuff for a star's career, you know? That's like,
yeah.
You have Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix. They died younger, but like, you know, it's just a big, I don't know, a big life cut short. You don't really get a like closure on their, I don't know, on their position as an entertainer, really.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you always kind of wonder like what could have been, what would have happened, what would this person have gone on to do?
Yeah.
Do you think something as really galvanizing as Elvis is possible in modern times?
I don't think so. I mean, I remember when like the Miley Cyrus twerking thing happened and people compared it to like Elvis dancing on stage because it was like so scandalous and so obscene. But that like faded pretty quickly. Like I think we just get too much. We have too much access to news and media that like shit fades real quick. And I don't think there'll be anybody like Elvis.
Yeah. And it's not to say that there aren't artists that achieve, you know, his level of success in the music industry,
right?
But just like to become,
I mean, maybe Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift was the only name that I could really think of.
Yeah.
Like just becoming the household name, the brand. But even, I mean, Taylor Swift, I know she had
fandom too.
Yeah, and I know she had the documentary or whatever that came out in October, but she's not like starring in films or, you know, doing that kind of stuff the way Elvis was. And I think it's a reflection of the times as well, in that we're kind of, I don't know if it almost to me feels like there's not really much that can surprise people anymore. I mean, I do think we're overstimulated.
Yeah.
I don't know what we could see on TV that would genuinely shock us and rile us all up the way Elvis did. So it kind of became something bigger than music, obviously, with Elvis. But I also think that, you know, we talk about the times and how segregated everything still was. And while, you know, I do acknowledge, I said earlier, it's not like racism's dead. Racism still exists in this country. You know, people by and large, I would say, are obviously more accepting. So the divisiveness of the times and how it kind of galvanized white people, I don't know that you can get that again today. Nor would you want it. That's not what I'm saying. But
no, well, yeah.
You know, it's like
I mean, right place, right time.
A byproduct of the times. Yeah. It was like you had this sect of people, this very large majority that wanted something that they weren't being serviced because of, their own ideological beliefs and stereotypes. How do you create that today? I don't think you do, unless like what is if like a dog went on stage and started
Okay.
singing and playing guitar,
Sure.
that might do it for me. You know what? Maybe there's an argument you could make for the advent of AI. And would it be shocking to see Elvis himself as an AI? You go buy a ticket and you go sit in the crowd to watch him helicopter his dick around.
I don't know that would be the same.
I don't know that it would be the same either. I'm just spitballing here. Some
I wonder
ideas,
if that would really do it for women, though.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know. Everything just turns into AI sex robots. You can go buy your own AI Elvis, take him home, and then he can disappoint you there.
Yes. So I guess what we need for another Elvis to happen is we need to repress women's horniness, and we need racism to come back.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we'll have another Elvis.
Yeah. Well, because another thing is that you would have to repress women's horniness because there's so many different outlets for female horniness now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, they're not all like, oh, it's all Elvis. It's a bunch of other outlets.
Exactly.
Like,
so, excuse me, you had another thought?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
So Elvis died relatively young, but we've kind of alluded to it. We've kind of teased it a little bit throughout the episode. There are some fun little conspiracy theories about how dead Elvis actually is.
Yeah. Over the past 4 decades, fans across North America have insisted they've spotted Presley out and about. In 1989, 3 so-called Elvis enthusiasts even created the Elvis Sighting Society to monitor these apparent incidents. Some people even claimed he appeared as an extra in Home Alone.
That is so awesome.
Which the next time I watch Home Alone, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind because who? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I want to look that up too because I missed the part where Elvis showed up.
Yeah, right. One of the biggest theories on why Presley may have faked his death is because he had to in order to escape the mafia. Gail Brewer Giorgio, the author of the 1988 best-selling book Is Elvis Alive, recalled in a recent interview with Time how she poured through thousands of FBI documents to come to the conclusion that Presley was an American hero who had to go into witness protection. Do I know if Elvis is alive today? No, I don't know, she said. But I know he didn't die on August 16th. I love that. She's so sure of herself.
Yeah, I know this.
I know he did not die on the toilet.
Maybe she's a time traveler that wrote this book.
Brewer Giorgio said the FBI enlisted Presley as an undercover agent in 1976 to help the agency infiltrate a criminal organization called the Fraternity, which was apparently made up of dozens of racketeers. The author said the agency had approached Presley because a member of the Fraternity had apparent dealings with Presley over the sale of an airplane the singer had. But when Elvis was found to be a mole, he was put into the witness protection program, citing what she said was evidence from FBI documents and interviews. Elvis faked his death because he was going to be killed, and there's no doubt about it, she said.
No doubt about it at all.
The FBI did not immediately comment on the decades-old claim. There's no mention of Presley aiding the FBI in the more than 760 files the federal agency has released that pertain to the singer between 1956 and 1980. The FBI never investigated Presley, but a folder in his name was created because he had been the target of several extortion attempts the FBI probed.
Man. But you know what? I mean, hold on. Let's just entertain this for a bit.
Okay.
Because if ever there was a character that might find his way into some secret agent shit, don't you think Elvis is probably one of those characters?
Why?
Because he was super into karate. because he wanted to be a secret agent. What was the thing that he wrote about? He wrote to one of the presidents requesting to be some sort of secret agent. I mean, there's your bridge right there.
No, he did. He definitely he wanted to help out. He did reach out to them saying that he wanted to help out, which is hilarious.
It is. It's awesome. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if he could invite this into his life, I think he would have.
Yes, I do think he would have if he could have.
You just don't think he could have?
I don't think they would go for it. I don't think you'd be like, you know what, Elvis? Yeah.
You know what, Elvis? I've seen your karate videos, and hell
we
yeah.
would love you to. I mean, maybe.
Here's your gun.
If they were, but I don't think it would be anything as serious as like, now they want to kill him. It would probably just be like, hey, where, like, can you tell us who reached out to you to buy your airplane? It would just be something like that.
Yeah.
Not like going undercover and
so,
now they want to murder Elvis.
Hold on. If he does out the guy that he bought his airplane from, and this guy does have some dangerous connections.
Who would be stupid enough to kill Elvis, though?
You don't think theoretically they could be like, you know what? We fucked up, Elvis. This was our fault. Now you're wrapped up in this, and these people want to kill you. We're going to put you into witness protection.
I mean, did you see him sweating during his last performance? Have you seen his last performance alive?
Yes, I have.
That man is struggling.
It is very sad.
It is very sad. He still has a beautiful voice, though. But it is very clear he died. Okay, that man died.
I'm just entertaining the possibility that the truth might not be as simple as we perceive it to be. That's all.
Okay.
I think I used to watch those shows about whether or not Elvis was still alive, and they would do like talk show style, like Jerry Springer, where there would be a host and they would play these clips that people would send in, and people in the audience would raise their hand. Yes, I saw Elvis, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my dad watching that stuff and just being fascinated by it. And I think it's a testament to what he meant to a lot of people, that
yes,
I think so many people were willing to entertain these ideas in the hopes that maybe their hero, their favorite performer, was still alive and out there somewhere. So I think there's a very sad tone to this too.
Yes, there is
conspiracy theories about his death that kind of, I don't know, make me feel bad about the people that are holding on to this idea. It's like, man, it's
really hard
a lot
for somebody as big as Elvis to die, you know?
Sure.
Because it's Elvis, you know? He was more than just a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for him to die, yeah, that's going to be hard for people to accept. You know, I read the first book that the True Blood series is based off of, and that author made Elvis a vampire. He is a vampire.
Is that right?
In that series. Yeah, he's friends with Bill. And yeah, he's like half brain dead because he was, I don't know, turned when he died, like on a bunch of pills. I don't know. There's some weird explanation about it. It's very weird. But yeah, she wrote it, and it just makes me think, like, I really wish they had put him in True Blood. Like, they just have an Elvis vampire walking around.
I don't know. Man, do you think Elvis would have wanted to be a vampire?
Yeah, I do. I do.
You do?
Yeah. He was into weird shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Besides belief sightings, skeptics also point to what they insist are slip-ups from Presley's family and media interviews. An apparent name misspelling on the king's tombstone is proof of a cover-up. The skeptics say Presley's middle name was purposely spelled wrong, Aaron instead of Aaron instead of Aaron, on his tombstone, because putting his real name would have been taboo since he was alive, which is very stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
I've never heard that before.
That's really reaching.
Yeah, I've heard.
Oh, they missed his name because he's still alive.
Incest, cannibalism, and putting the right name on the grave when someone's not really dead. Those are the taboos, I guess.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Incest and cannibalism? What? Um, debunkers say the king started spelling his middle name Aaron instead of Aaron later in life. Yeah, I mean, he changed his own name. It was
pretty cut and dry there.
Yeah.
But what if? I mean,
what if he's an incestuous cannibal? That's where I thought you were going with that before.
I don't know. I kind of feel like this kind of stuff is going to pop up with every legendary figure, or at least the figures that reach the cultural status of someone like Elvis. It's kind of fun to think about, though, like this really weird, because Elvis was a weird dude. He was into weird shit.
Yeah,
I would say he had a pretty weird career path.
Yes, all fair.
I don't know. I will say I will leave the door open. Some weird shit happened at the end of his life. If ever there was a person, a figure that I believe could at least be capable of faking their own death and going into hiding, I think Elvis is probably the perfect candidate for that role. People are going to call me crazy, but I don't.
I think he's too big. Like, people definitely would have recognized him. Putting the king into witness protection program. What are you going to do? Are you going to fucking ship him to, like, I don't know, Bolivia and name him, I don't know, Terry? Like, what?
But I mean, like, grows his hair out a little bit. You keep him out of the public eye long enough for him to turn gray, puts a beard on, maybe, I don't know. I kind of feel like stripped away, and maybe this isn't popular. I said at the top of the show that I don't think Elvis is particularly good looking. I think if you strip away the aura around him, I think there's kind of an everyman quality to Elvis. I could see just a few minor tweaks and him just kind of looking like one of those faces you vaguely recognize. And also, who in their right mind is going to see a guy that looks like Elvis on the street and be like, "Oh, that's Elvis"? I'm just saying, I think it's a little more plausible.
You would.
I would think I would say, "Hey babe, that guy looks just like Elvis. Don't you agree?" And she would say,
"No,
oh,
I probably would
yes.
too." I have literally spoken to Kelly Clarkson to her face, and I was sitting there thinking, "Is this Kelly Clarkson?" Like, that would be me. Other people are smarter than I am. So, I mean, people would still notice.
Just saying. I don't think it's
like
so
he got
far-fetched.
super healthy and like lost a lot of weight.
Maybe he did. Maybe they like stuffed him in a bunker somewhere and like put him in a coma for a month. And then woke him
cut
up.
His hair, because I think his hair was on the longer side.
Just shaved his head and pasted it.
But
to
his accent,
beard. It could be an Elvis impersonator.
Even those are very good.
If you look that much like Elvis, I thought Austin Butler was Elvis for about 3 hours in the latest feature film.
He did pretty good. He did a good job.
It's not the latest appearance from Elvis in a feature film. I forgot about Priscilla.
Yeah, he did a good job.
It's fun to think about. That's all.
It is. I mean, you've seen more videos. I've never seen footage of Elvis at somebody's family reunion. So
there's a lot more. There's a lot more stuff than I think. Like the mafia stuff, maybe that's a little bit extreme, but I wouldn't discount that he could have potentially gotten involved with the wrong type of people. It wasn't exactly in the best state of mind later on in his life.
I mean, he was about to get married again, though, I think. Like he had like what happened to her? He was like living with somebody again.
I don't know. We'll never know. It's all a mystery.
I mean, I would agree with you if he wasn't clearly in horrendous health at the end of his life. Like, what is that man gonna do? That man's not outrunning anybody.
Yeah. Pretty rough shape for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looking back to kind of sum this up, because we are over an hour at this point. Looking back at it, I mean, what other stories in American history, pop culture or otherwise, kind of compare to this? I mean,
What
who
about
else
Michael
would you...
Jackson? You don't think so?
I just don't know. Michael Jackson's a good one because there are a lot of parallels there with the rise to stardom. I think Michael Jackson was a better singer than Elvis.
Yeah. Better dancer too.
Better dancer too. Weird shit, obviously.
Yep.
Very, very weird, troubling shit.
Yep. I mean, with Elvis too.
Well, yeah, but
And
I
maybe
don't
not on
know.
the same scale, but
I don't know. Like, does Michael Jackson have the cultural impact that Elvis did? Like from a societal standpoint?
I think, honestly, I think what makes Elvis such more, I don't know. I think it's because he was turned into so much more of a commodity.
Yeah.
Like his face was fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, Michael Jackson's pretty fucking huge. I don't know. That's kind of hard to compare.
Huge.
Madonna,
maybe.
I mean, Madonna can't compete with Elvis.
What do you mean?
Well, she's not on the same level.
Oh, yeah.
But she is a big cultural icon. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, any artists, any writers, any
Shakespeare,
movie stars, Shakespeare. Hey, yeah, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Shakespeare and Elvis.
Movie stars, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Have to be people like Tom Cruise. And I mean, that's not no Elvis though.
Yeah, I mean, the Beatles are different.
The Beatles are a good comparison though. I think they're up there.
Yeah.
With Elvis. My mom was a big Beatles girl though.
I mean, I feel I'm not trying to discredit the Beatles or say that they weren't big, but I feel like they're kind of, I don't know, is it blasphemous of me to suggest that the Beatles were kind of vanilla? They're just kind of bland, like it's not really interesting.
God, they're so bland.
Except for the what's the conspiracy theory about the Beatles, that they all died or that Paul McCartney died and was replaced by someone?
That's a fun one. Yeah.
That is a fun one. Yeah. And the same thing for Avril Lavigne too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've read that one. That is a good one.
Yeah. But I don't feel like, I don't know. I felt like the Beatles were kind of like the first boy band in a way.
Yeah.
Like you had but
that's a pretty big cultural movement. I mean, then you get stuff like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and One Direction.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at here is that, at least from like an entertainment perspective, I kind of feel like Elvis is as pretty close to one of one that you're going to get.
Yeah. I do think it's fair to say that.
All right. I got nothing more to add, and we've gotten to the end of your agenda. So any parting shots? Do you have a favorite Elvis song?
Oof. Damn, I should have prepared and thought about this. I've gone through different, I've had my different phases with them. I kind of like the stupid fun ones.
Yeah. Like the old school stuff. Are we talking like
Yeah.
Jailhouse Rock?
No.
Because that was a stupid fucking song.
Yeah, I don't like that one. Hold on, let me just what about you?
Oh, it's I Can't Help But Falling in Love with You, whatever that song's called.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like Suspicious Minds a lot too. Suspicious Minds is good. And then Viva Las Vegas. Those are probably my 3 favorites.
I don't know. I like the shit that's like fucking All Shook Up, that kind of stuff. Like just give me short, classic, stupid ass Elvis, you know? I'm not looking for anything that is very moving with Elvis. I don't know. His later stuff was good. Like Unchained Melody is pretty good.
Unchained Melody is good, yeah.
But like if I'm going back to the old stuff, I think just the fun
Blue Suede Shoes was 1956.
Return to Cinder is kind of fun because it's so stupid and it's like from a movie. Like those songs suck, but they're fun. So
yeah, I'm right there with you.
Those are kind of my favorites.
Can't Help Falling in Love, Blue Hawaii, 1961.
Yeah. Which that's from a movie too.
Yep.
I mean, that's classic.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this month's episode of Phone It In. Do we
And I will say, I think there's like a fucking tiny little window of like a few years where I thought Elvis was kind of hot. But it's so like
a lot of people did. There's no shame in that.
It's like when he was older, but like before the real gross fake tan. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Elvis, there's so many phases of Elvis, but I don't think he was actually attractive. But I think if I had to pick, it would be like this very small. It would be this very small window.
I'm just saying, I think there's a little bit of an everyman quality to him.
I would agree with that.
I would not be throwing my panties on stage for Elvis.
No. Well, I mean, it goes beyond that, though. It's bigger than just what a guy looks like.
Why do Elvis have pointy ears? Do you know the answer to that question?
Like elves?
Oh, sorry.
Elvis on the Shelvis.
Any parting shots before we get on out of here today?
No, the small window of attractiveness was my parting shot.
Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna go listen to some Elvis now. I gotta clean up the kitchen. Might cook.
Have you been to his house?
I have, yes.
Yeah,
that's a fun story.
I have.
Yeah, but my dad's
saw
watching all the
ghost
conspiracy stuff. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. Damn, I should have brought this up earlier.
And he's telling me like, oh, now look around, like he might still be here. This is his house. And so the whole tour, I remember nothing of the tour except being terrified and looking around like in every window of this house, like thinking, oh my God, I'm going to see Ghost Elvis. That's all I remember.
That is so funny. I love that.
So that's, I grew up with a lot of Elvis in my life. I did. Now I'm going to go listen to him a little bit. All right, Rooster, where can our listeners find you on social media?
At Rooster_Chase on everything. That's it, everywhere.
Yeah, which is not what the intro says, but
nope.
I digress. I'm at Stoney Keeley on Twitter, at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. I made it through my whole beer without burping, and then I get to the very end of the show, and it gets me. Check out all of our work at SobrosNetwork.com. Subscribe, rate, review wherever you take in your podcasts. Let us know how we're doing. And if you feel like you're compelled to leave us a 1-star review, don't do it. You're really going to hurt our feelings. Yeah. And just know we might not know who you are, but we are going to talk shit about you every show. So phone it in wherever you take in your shows. And hit up the patreon.com/SoBros Network for a little premium content. For the Cryptid Queen Rooster, I am Big Natural Stoney Keeley. And until next month, you stay classy, phoners.
Bye.